Let's give our praises to the Most High, whose true name in the ancient Hebrew is Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, whose true name in the ancient Hebrew is Yahweh Shai, and the Holy Spirit, which in the ancient Hebrew is the Rakah Quadash. Double honors to the elders of GMS, who taught us his truth by the Holy Spirit. Honors to the brothers, risking their life and freedom to push the gospel. Peace and blessings to the elect, who would be the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, who make up the lost 12 tribes of Israel, according to scripture and prophecy. The elect would be 1/3 of the Israelites who will return back to Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai for salvation, while the 2/3 of Israel who don't turn back to the Most High in time be destroyed with America. So we back with another lesson through the mercy of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. And this lesson is going to be titled The Evil Arrows of Famine, 11/29/25. And what I've been doing is every so often, but I'm going to do it more frequently. So once or twice a month, I'm going to do a lesson concerning all of the food shortages, all the food and other products that are being recalled and taken off the shelves and making people sick. I'm going to do an update on it once or twice per month. Because, famine, that's a part of end time prophecy. And there's a famine brewing in America right under you people noses. But nobody's paying any attention. But the Lord himself spoke of famines in the last days. That's why when we start here, Matthew 24, verse 6, ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Wars are taking place right now. Rumors of more wars are also happening. Even a Christian can quote that. See, be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Hey, all of the wars are going to happen. That's going to be the end of this. But it's not going to be yet. Now the Lord going to expound and talk about what would lead up to the end, which is going to be by nuclear war. For nation shall rise up against nation. That's happening in America, but worldwide too. Race wars, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, these different countries into it. There shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. So even a Christian can quote that. Nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, earthquakes in diverse places. But the two silent killers, the famines and the pestilences, that's what often gets skipped over. And that's what people often forget about. Those are the silent killers. War is loud. You can see it. The sword, shootouts, mass shootings is loud. You can see it. Hey, but the pestilence and the famine, that's going to do a number to the American people. And that's going to be judgment from Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah. So like we say, the Lord spoke of famines, and there's going to be a famine here in America. Now, a famine don't always mean that there's no food or no water. It could be food and water shortages, or it could be that people don't have access to food and water, rather because they food stamps, SNAP benefits got cut, or everybody being laid off and fired, so now they don't have money, so now they don't have access to food and water. Or it could be you refuse the RFID microchip, which is the mark of the beast, so now you don't have access to food or water. Whatever the reason may be, it could be your own personal famine. There could literally be no food or water, or you just don't have access to it. But that's what's coming. Now, I'm going to hit this real quick. This is Isaiah 3:1. The Lord Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah will take away from Jerusalem and Judah. Now, this is not the physical land of Jerusalem, but the original people of Jerusalem, which the people of Jerusalem would be the 12 tribes, Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. And where do you find most of the 12 tribes collectively? Right here in North America. southern kingdom as well as the northern kingdom. So the Lord will take away from Jerusalem and Judah, which are found in America. So in other words, the Lord is going to take away from America and really the rest of the world too, because the Lord is bringing judgment on the world. He's going to take away everything they depend on, every bit of bread, every drop of water. This is Isaiah 3:1 NLT. So yeah, every bit of bread, every drop of water, the Lord is going to take it away. How is he going to take it away? Through his left hand, through his sword, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. He's going to use Esau, the white man, to bring about this famine. This is going to be a man-made famine. But not just food and water, electricity, Wi-Fi, gas and oil for vehicles, medical supplies, medicines, household items, cleaning supplies. It's going to be a shortage or a famine on everything. That's why it says everything they depend on will be taken away. Use your imagination. Over the next few days, everything you touch, everything you use, one day is not going to be here. And that's going to bring about the sword, the famine, the pestilence, a lot of death. And that's what the Lord is doing here in America. Everything is slowly being taken away, right in you people's faces. And for those who's watching what's going on, you know, me, my mom, other people that's watching, we all came to the conclusion that it can't be this many food recalls. So either America has gone completely retarded and everybody is making dumb mistakes when it comes to food manufacturing and processing and packaging, or they saying it's a recall just so they can take these different foods and items and stock up their underground bunkers. Because I don't really think it's that many recalls. We think they taking these items and foods and different products and putting them in their underground bunkers, which it only makes sense. But let's see what's being recalled today. Let's see what's being taken off the shelf for the month of November. And we got just a handful of recalls. We don't have everything because it's impossible to keep up. And shout out to my mom for providing me with these links. So let's see what's being recalled. Barbecue sauce recall issued over life-threatening consumer risk. Now, with a lot of these recalls, nobody actually ever gets sick. They just say there's a health risk. It's life-threatening. So they can recall it, take it off the shelves, and probably put it in their underground bunkers. So let's see why the barbecue sauce is being recalled. Anthony's Barbecue Sauce, based in Brookings, Oregon, issued a recall of one of its sauces on Thursday over concerns that it may contain undeclared anchovy. That it may contain it? How do you determine that the barbecue sauce may contain anchovies? Did you see barbecue sauce with anchovies in it? Did anybody see barbecue sauce with anchovies in it? I didn't think so. So this sounds like a bunch of BS. It sounds like they want to take the barbecue sauce off the shelf. It says, which could potentially cause life-threatening reaction, people with a fish allergy. And now, if this is a real case of cross-contamination, yeah, people with fish allergy, if there's undeclared fish products and whatever they eating, yeah, that can be a life-threatening reaction. Same with peanuts. If it's undeclared peanuts and food products that people with peanut allergies are eating, they don't know it's peanuts in there, that could be life-threatening. You know, it sounds like it could be believable, but at the same time, it sounds like a bunch of BS. That it may contain anchovies. Do it or do it not. Did anybody see barbecue sauce with anchovies in it? Because, you know, usually in the past, when there's a food recall, it's because so many people in a certain amount of time in the same area got sick. They'd do the investigation. They'd come to the conclusion that all these people got this in common. They ate a certain product in a certain time period. But not these days. They just issue recalls left and right. It may have this, it may have that, it may be plastic, it may be wood, it may be metal shavings, etc., etc. Now, America's retarded, but I don't think it's that retarded for them to be having this many food recalls, but anything is possible. So, yeah, there's supposedly anchovies in the barbecue sauce, but nobody's seen it. So, yeah. Another one, cooking pan recall ahead of Thanksgiving. So it looked like they taking all the cooking pans underground. It says due to toxic lead levels, or it could be a real health risk. But let's read into it. Shada Traders Inc. is recalling its 21st centimeter chef brand milk pan after FDA testing found it contains leachable lead that could contaminate the food. Why didn't they test it before they put it in stores? Don't know. Lead exposure can cause serious health problems, including learning difficulties and behavior changes in children, fatigue, stomach pain, and neurologic effects in children and adults. So, anybody ever experienced these symptoms, you know what it could be. FDA advises customers to stop using a recalled pan immediately and return it for a refund. But that's why I believe it's the book of I don't remember. One of the prophets, it might be Ezekiel, said that we will eat our bread defiled among the Gentiles. Meaning, living amongst these Gentiles, our food would be contaminated. That's why it's pork and everything. But not even the food. Even the food containers are defiled. Microplastics, heavy metals, lead, forever chemicals, everything is defiled. But yeah, there's a recall on cooking pans. So, but that's why the Lord said He will take away everything they depend on. Hey, the pans are one of them. So here goes another one. Let's see what we get. Publix ice cream recall sparks highest consumer risk warning. Let's see what Esau up to with the ice cream recall. A recall of Publix ice cream product due to a potential undeclared allergen has been issued the highest risk warning by the U.S. FDA. Let's see what we can see. Public supermarkets, an employee-owned grocery chain based in Florida, issue a voluntary recall. And we see a lot of that, voluntary recalls. These companies, they just raise their hand and be like, hey, we're going to take this off the shelves. For its rich, creamy vanilla ice cream on October 14th, due to a possible undeclared egg, the FDA later issued a Class 1 risk classification for the recall on November 18th. So this is the update. A Class 1 risk classification, one of three, represents a situation in which there is a reasonable probability that the use of or exposure to a violative product will cause serious adverse health consequences or death. Fish are one of the 9 major food allergens. And yeah, there's a lot of people with fish allergy. But how did it get into ice cream? That's why it says due to possible undeclared eggs. We get that. But what happened? How did egg product get into ice cream? Has anybody seen any fish product in their ice cream? Didn't think so. So it sounds like they taking the ice cream to the underground bunkers. But what it means that shelves are going to be empty. And people may mock at this and say, it's just ice cream. Why does it matter? Well, when ice cream is the only thing left that you can eat because everything else is empty, then, you see the importance of it. They taking every little thing they can off the shelves. Yeah, people gonna fight over ice cream when that's the only thing left. Then you see how important ice cream can be. Hey, when there's nothing else left, ice cream could save your life, or you could starve to death. FDA is recalling over 6 million eggs due to salmonella contamination. More than 6 million eggs tied to an Arkansas producer under a Class 1 recall, the FDA's most serious alert. The agency says the product should not be eaten or sold. We know America love them some eggs. I think the eggs are going underground. The eggs were distributed Arkansas, Missouri, with some shipments brokered to other states. Let's see, did anybody get sick? A related brand in Texas also pulled eggs that came from the same supplier. Inspectors took environmental samples, including swabs from a facility surface, to check for germs during a September visit. 40 samples tested positive for salmonella, and 7 different strains were detected. And we know that Trump laid off a bunch of people, I think with the CDC or the FDA. It's one or the other or both. So a lot of your food regulations and inspections and stuff, a lot of that stuff is going to suffer, leading to possible famine and pestilence. So, yeah, the same story. More eggs contaminated with salmonella. Or they could just be taking the eggs to put them on the ground. Here goes another one. Dietary supplements recalled nationwide after 11 people got sick with salmonella. So dietary supplements, herbs, powders, we know America is big on that. Now they could be taking these herbs and powders and dietary supplements underground, but let's see what we see. Get this off the damn screen. Several dietary supplements were recalled after a multi-state outbreak of salmonella resulted in at least 11 illnesses and 3 hospitalizations. A single lot of organic moringa leaf powder from Valon, India, has been linked to all illnesses included in the traceback investigation. So this looked like a real recall, which people actually got sick, so it needed to be removed from the shelves. The affected moringa powder was supplied to multiple U.S. distributors, including retail and wholesale channels. Cases have been reported in these states. So will they pull more of this off the shelves? We don't know. Possibly, but a lot of times the famine and pestilence go hand in hand. Let's show that real quick. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 5, verse 12. And this is concerning the 2/3 of the house of Israel that's going to be cut off and die here in America. A third part of the 2/3 shall die with pestilence, that's sickness, illness, and with famine should they be consumed in the midst of thee. So the pestilence and the famine go hand in hand. Pestilence going to increase the famine, famine going to increase the pestilence. Because again, this is not just a shortage of food and water, a shortage of medicine, medical supplies, cleaning supplies. So that's why the pestilence will go up. Third part of thee shall die with pestilence, and with famine should it be consumed in the midst of thee. Third part of thee shall fall by the sword round about thee. Now scatter a third part into all the winds, and I will draw out a sword after them. This is judgment on the house of Israel. But the same judgment gonna fall on the other nations as well. So a whole lot of people gonna be touched by the 2 silent killers, the pestilence and the famine. Let's see what we got here. The vegetable recall issued highest consumer risk warning. What's going on with the vegetables? The recall of 474 cases of bulk Italian parsley distributed to wholesalers across 8 states have been issued a Pacific International marketing due to a potential contamination with salmonella, like the plagues of Egypt. With the salmonella, the FDA now classified the recall as a Class 1, its most serious category. Class 1 is a situation in which there is a reasonable probability that the use of or exposure to will cause serious adverse health consequences or death. So, the Italian parsley got salmonella in it, supposedly, or they could be taking it underground. Don't look like nobody got sick. It looked like it's a voluntary recall. The company realized they made a mistake or something might have went wrong, so they recalled it voluntarily. Let's see what we got here. Ice cream bars sold in Pennsylvania recalled. What's going on with the ice cream? The FDA issued a recall of ice cream bars that were sold across several states, including Pennsylvania. According to the FDA, Dreyer's Grand Ice Cream is recalling a limited number of dark chocolate mini bars because they may contain undeclared wheat. Do the ice cream bars contain wheat or not? It should be noted that no injuries or illnesses have been reported and no other products are affected by this recall. So nobody's reported sick or dead from the ice cream bars. But that's why it says may contain undeclared wheat. So it sounds like they lying, taking the ice cream bars on the ground. Oh, baby formula. Excuse me. You remember there was a baby formula shortage during the pandemic. And then a video came out. They was taking pallets of baby formula and burning it. So again, this is going to be a man-made famine. Similar to how a few years ago, all the food processing plants and facilities, chicken farms was blowing up or burning down. And not a witness was ever caught. Not a suspect was ever found. Byhart recalled 2 batches of his baby formula following federal officials' report of 13 children contracting infant botulism after consuming its products. So people really reported sick. So you may have a real recall right here. "13 babies in 10 states have been hospitalized as a result of the outbreak," the FDA and CDC said. No deaths have been reported. The code and date found on the bottom of the container, the company said the recall was voluntary and out of an abundance of caution. Infant botulism is contracted when swallowed spores from bacteria make toxins in a baby's large intestine. Symptoms of infant botulism includes poor feeding, loss of head control, difficulties with swallowing, breathing, decreased facial expression, and a weak, altered cry. It can be fatal in rare cases. The symptoms can take as long as several weeks to develop. So imagine all of this, food recalls and possibilities of people getting sick and people really getting sick in a blackout or in some kind of cyber attack, internet outage. Or this stuff happened, but people being stripped of their health insurance because they've been laid off or fired. This is what's building up in America. FDA recall ADHD medication. So yeah, ADHD medication is being recalled. Let's see if we can see why. Due to some failed lab tests. Due to failed dissolution specifications, many of the sample pills failed to dissolve properly during testing. We know a lot of American children and people got ADHD. So it's possibly they're taking them underground. But, so the scriptures say, the Lord will take away everything that depend on every bit of bread, every drop of water. And now the medicine is being affected. I think last update was like high blood pressure medicine or something was recalled. 3 tomato sauces recalled with shoppers warned of botulism risk. So tomato sauce is being recalled. First and Last Bakery, based in Connecticut, has recalled 3 tomato sauce products due to a risk of botulism, which can cause fatal food poisoning. Although no illnesses have been reported, so why is there a recall? Reported to date, customers are urged to return the recalled products for a full refund and to seek immediate attention if they experience symptoms of botulism. So this stuff was recalled due to a risk of botulism. How did they determine or find out that the products may have been contaminated with botulism? Let's get this real quick. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 15 and 16. Should have got it earlier. It says, when I shall send upon them the evil arrows of famine, which shall be for their destruction, which I will send to destroy you, and I will increase the famine upon you, and will break your staff of bread. We see the Lord is increasing the famine here in America. But what it say? When I shall send upon them the evil arrows of famine. Well, an arrow, that's a weapon of war used for attack. So this is an attack on the food supply by Esau Edom, the so-called white man. He's attacking the food supply. And it's happened silently. Like when you think about an arrow shot from a bow versus a 9mm, you know, the firepower, that's loud. You can hear it, you can see it. But a bow and arrow, that's a silent weapon. And the food supply in America is being silently attacked. The food is being cut off. Let's look at this word arrows in the Blue Letter Bible. Ezekiel 5 and 16. Let's go to the word arrow for evil arrows of famine. H2671. And I know we're going to have to go to a cross-reference. H2686. H2686. It says to divide, to be cut off, to be finished, to shoot arrows. So when the Lord says he's going to send the evil arrows of famine, he's going to cut off the food supply. The word arrow literally means to be cut off or to be finished. So the food supply in America is going to be cut off. It's going to be finished. And that's not all of a sudden. That's the gradualism. That's why you see all the different food recalls. That's why all the food processing plants and facilities was burning up or blowing up. More deaths confirmed a listeria outbreak linked to pasta mills. Let's read about the listeria. The death toll has risen in ongoing multi-state listeria outbreak linked to ready-to-eat pasta products sold at stores such as Walmart, Kroger, Trader Joe's. Some new cases of listeria poisoning, known as listeriosis, have been confirmed in 3 additional states since the previous investigation. Of the 27 sickened individuals, 25 were hospitalized, and one associated illness resulted in fetal loss. Lost your baby due to pasta. That's why America is known as the Valley of the Shadow of Death. This includes 2 additional deaths, bringing the total fatalities to 6. So pasta is taking out people. That's the pestilence. So this is going to result in more food being taken off the shelves, the famine increasing. Last one. Maybe. Nationwide fish recall prompts warning to customers. Packages of dry gonia fish after the product was found to be eviscerated. Let's see what this word means. Okay. Potential damaged products, foodborne illness, contamination. Eviscerated fish has been linked to outbreaks of botulism poisoning. Think uneviscerated means that the fish wasn't gutted. It had all its guts, etc. Selling uneviscerated fish in New York State agriculture regulations is prohibited due to the likelihood of botulism. But yeah, that's the Lord increasing the famine. These are the evil arrows of famine. It's a silent attack on the food supply to cut off the food supply. What the Lord say, which shall be for their destruction. Not just the 2/3 of our people, but the other nations here in America. So a lot of people about to die from this famine. Then when we get this in the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. So that's going to be all of a sudden to the people who ain't been watching, who wasn't informed on this growing famine. And let's see what this is going to result. The storehouses, grocery stores being empty. At that time, shall friends fight one against another like enemies. And your friend, your families, what's holding all these relationships together, what's holding America together is the money and the food. When you pull back the food, everybody's going to become enemies to one another. And the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. So eventually, friends gonna fight one against another like enemies. And that's the thing when you think about this civil war. People see, race wars, class wars, political wars. Pretty much people teaming up and fighting against other people for a common cause. Well, Democrats, they're going to be at war against one another when there's no food. Republicans going to be killing each other when there's no food. Even ICE, wait till it's a famine. Even they going to be at it against one another. That's why I said friends shall fight like enemies. Civil war in America going to take a deadly turn in the presence of the famine. The famine is going to increase everything. It's going to increase the sword as well as the pestilence. So Yep, Evil Arrows of Famine, 11/29/25. Lord willing, that was informative. Till next time, Shalom.